Hello, my name is Kat, and I will be covering Shijing, Book of Songs, also translated to classical poetry compiled by, by Confucius. His born name or given name is Kong, and some may know him. Description of work, title of work, Book of Songs, Shijing. I put a translation or pronunciation actually to the side, mostly for myself. Creator. It was compiled by the Chinese philosopher Confucius, well known during his time and even now. Dates. The poems themselves actually span 500 years, from 1100 BCE to 600 BCE. The culture being Western Zhao dynasty. The original location is Zhao, China. The current location, like many Chinese pieces from ancient China, no longer exists. The original allies, with the Shijing being due to war and other unfortunate events. But manuscripts and early copies and fragments are currently in many locations, with one I organized being the National Library of China in Beijing, being the home to also the Journey to the West. Medium being poems. Now to the left is one of the first songs, the Book of Odes by Quan Long, Emperor, this being public domain, because in this region, the public domain exists for the author's life plus 100 years or fewer. It's been a while. Cultural context. Zhao China was known for rituals, not those kind, hierarchy, social order, music, and poetry. The poems were obviously songs originally and used to express feelings like aspiration, concerns, and even petition satire or just entertainment, actually. Poems and songs. Zhao Chinese poems and songs they are from a society built on ritual, hierarchy, agriculture, music, and regional diversity. This context shapes every poem in the Shijing. For the places we grow up, shape even what we write about, honestly. The Book of Songs Shijing. The Shijing is not just literature, but it is also a window into the Zhao civilization with its 305 pieces, even more, probably to this day. An illustration to the left is also from the Book of Odes by the Qianlong Emperor, being public domain. Contemporary significance. The Book of Songs influence, the Shijing is actually the not the largest, earliest large poetry collection in China, and became one of the five classics and influenced literature that came after and were used to teach. They established the foundations of Chinese poetry style, and poems were used to teach how to have empathy and view politics and emotional expression. Relevant themes today is using these to express feelings through music and sharing stories through performance as well as social hierarchy. Feelings are often used when writing as well, like sharing a story. Our everyday lives are also built on a social hierarchy, values, and cultural viewpoints. Book of Songs has many poems that for many reasons. Some, a few important ones are maybe honoring the past, cultural identity, and justice. These poems talk about valuing and loyalty to family and community and responsibilities, which can be hard when it may seem to go against our culture or whoever's culture. And honoring the past is important, but In the present day, things have changed how it was back then. Using these stories, we can learn how to not to leave the parts in the past that were important behind. Justice is just as important though. Like back then, our society it was built on a hierarchy, and it is still now. And sometimes we may be lower in the food chain, so to speak, but we still need to speak out. And back then, it was a lot harder to do, harder to do in ancient China. Now the works cited. The first one at the top, actually, is um, is my opinion it was pretty good. It went over the base because like most of these other tabs, it just talked about the book in general and like the dates it spanned and a little about Confucius. Now the Wikipedia, most don't trust it. I just looked at it a little bit to find maybe where I could bounce off from or where I could go. It was my first, well, it's where I first started. And the third is actually of resources that was provided us quite a bit ago. Um, the Great Question seminars. Mine was the analogy of classic songs, and it was actually one specifically about the Shijing and the ancient Chinese, or whatever that is exactly. Um, it's a pretty decent source. It was talking mostly about the abstraction of the book and looking at about it a little differently, and also touched on about Confucius actually. And last one being read. It was just a, I wouldn't say it was exactly professional. It wasn't EDU, and it covered it pretty decently like the others. It was the basic baseline and the dates. So I'd say it was pretty good. And that is all. I'd like to thank you for listening, and I hope you have a good day.